What's the worst case of rich kid syndrome you've seen? One of my college classmates wrecked his Range Rover over winter break and came back in an Aston Martin. In middle school, we were asked to draw our homes for some assignment and hand it in at the end of class. A popular, extremely wealthy kid that sat behind me raised his hand and smugly asked the teacher for another sheet of paper because he couldn't draw it all on one page. His friends just snickered, but I was cringing. Even at 12, I remember thinking it was such a snobby thing to say. Worked with this kid who was a good kid, but completely disconnected from financial reality for most people. Had just moved out west from another state and was trying to get on like a normal adult. He went to buy a new car and was shocked that they couldn't just bill his dad for it, since they didn't know him. He ordered a bottle of wine at a restaurant and the sommelier said, "Certainly, sir." Then the sommelier whispered, "Just for your knowledge, sir, the bottle is $700. He looked straight at him and asked, "Is that a lot?" The sommelier honestly didn't know how to answer. Good kid, and he got a lot better, but he just didn't know. Once he casually told his mom he needed some help with bills and she deposited $20,000 into his account. "I mean, it's one bottle of wine, Michael, what could it cost? $700? Went to school with a crazy rich kid, his parents divorced and each decided to buy his love. Mommy owned a real estate agency, so she got him a license and spoon-fed him enough sales for a six-figure income. The dad then bought him a magazine. Yes, the dad bought a magazine for his 24-year-old cokehead son to run. Worked about as well as you'd imagine. I have a cousin like that. Her parents have always just bought whatever job she's kind of interested in. In high school, they opened a Dairy Queen so she would have a place for a first job. They've bought her a clothing store and an interior design business home decor store. And now that she's got kids and less time to work, they bought like 4 condos for her to use as Airbnb properties. The only good thing is when she gets bored, her stepbrother takes over and finds qualified people to run the businesses, so other people are ending up with nice jobs. I knew someone whose dad bought her a bar, because she wanted to get into booking music shows at the venue. Everyone I knew who also knew her were shocked, mostly because she wasn't exactly the managerial type. I'm pretty sure the bar closed and changed hands less than a year later. I work for a dentist and her son is a spoiled brat. He was at the office one day because she had to bring him to an appointment later that day. He got bored and went out wandering around some of the local shops. He came back a little while later and without any preamble walked up to her and said, "Give me $80. She asked him what it was for and he just repeated himself and she gave it to him. Edit, did not expect this to blow up. I'll answer a few questions if I can. So the kid is 19 years old, he was 17 at the time of this incident. The father is in the picture but my boss, the dentist, is the main breadwinner and disciplinarian of the family. The husband is more like another child and just works here and there and lives off her money. She tries to act tough and instill certain morals and values in her kids but then turns around and caves to all of their demands. For example, her twin daughters are going to university next year and instead of staying in a dorm they demanded a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom apartment. They refused to share a bedroom or even a bathroom. At first she told them absolutely not but they whined and complained and she caved. This will be a 2-bed, 2-bath apartment in Toronto by the way where rent prices are through the roof. My boss is very much about appearances and from a young age got her kids accustomed to a privileged lifestyle. She created monsters. Edit 2, yes, they are totally like Jean Ralphio and Mona Lisa Saperstein. That kid's going to have major issues in life later on with that kind of attitude. My fiance's cousin. He managed to crash 4 cars while still in high school because his father would replace them. When he moved on to college, he got kicked out of several apartments for owning a dog when they weren't permitted. He told me he didn't care though, since his father also funded his continuous stream of new housing. From what I last heard, his father is now paying for his long-standing cocaine habit. A guy looked at my $2,000 beater car in college and commented that it must have been really cheap and guessed $15,000. Edit, for anyone curious, it was a Kia Rio 2005 with 120k miles on it. Lol, I'd have offered to sell it to him as a demolition car or something for that price. Someone's sister got $600 shoes so the parents got the other kid's shoes of the same price to stop their complaining. Edit, it was a birthday present for the first kid. I should have said that. Holy crap. Somehow this is the one that got me. I mean, this is a common problem for any family. One kid gets one thing and the other sibling throws a tantrum because they also want that thing. Only difference being that it's usually cheap shit instead of $600 shoes. I had a friend in school who was like this too. Fairly upper middle class, 2 older siblings. But none of them had anything of particularly high value, like nice laptops, PlayStations, etc., because their parents' rationale was that if they bought a nice thing for one kid, everybody else would demand for it as well. Somehow sharing is a foreign concept. My fraternity brother's monthly allowance of $2,000 was cancelled from his parents because he made a few Fs. He then called his aunt for a separate allowance. Edit, the dude was a massive douche. His dad is a very successful stockbroker in the Memphis Germantown area. The kid only went to college so he could earn a degree to work at that company. The kid already had it made from day one. I could write paragraphs on how big of a douche canoe this dude was. But honestly, every single person who's replied here is a better person than he was. Edit 2, he blew the money on Xanax and weed. Edit 3, the kicker of this story was not really the amount but the fact that the kid called up his wealthy aunt for more money. Edit 4, changed cuck to douche. $2,000 a month, duck. I wonder how my life would be different now if I'd had that kind of allowance when I was younger. I hope I'd have saved it, but I likely wouldn't have if I was in a position to be getting it. I knew a girl whose allowance was $90 a day. She got into trouble so they cut it to $90 a week. How old was she? Assuming this was high school, how did she manage to spend $30K a year? She was a teenager. She lived in Manhattan, so that explains a bit. XOXO Gossip Girl. Knew this one guy at my college who didn't understand why everybody is so worked up about student loans. I remember him saying something along the lines of, why don't people just pay the tuition up front? He was also quite sheltered. Just stop being poor, God. Well boys, we did it, poverty is no more. My friend literally throws away his change because he hates holding coins. Doesn't matter if it's 99 cents, he'll throw it away. That shit adds up. Like, in the bin? In the trash. Your friend needs a slap. With a coin purse. A slap to the coin purse. Went to HS with this insufferably spoiled kid. Family had a couch in their home's elevator. And classical European sculpture, this was in the US. Kid talked down toe about the less fortunate on a regular basis. Once made fun of me for picking a coin up off the ground. What an actual douche he is. In high school, a kid was bragging that he got in his third fender bender in his old car, 3 years old, that his parents gave him but he hated, so his parents were buying him an entirely new, current year, car to incentivize him to drive better. Hey son, you wrecked your new car. Well, fine. We're getting you a new one hoping you'll drive better. Genius. I went to school with a kid who totaled his Escalade, and someone's private land, by off-roading in it. So it was replaced with an Audi so they couldn't do it again. This kid back in high school was whining, I mean literally whimpering, that he had to wait something like 6 weeks for his custom-built BMW to come over from Germany. If that was me, I'd be surprised it only took 6 weeks to custom-build a car and ship it from another country. I don't really know anything about cars, that just seems like a short time period to custom-build and ship such a large item. I've waited longer than that for 99p shit on eBay. My mom's friend used to buy new clothes each season and throw out the old ones. She had to be taught by her husband to save them for the next year. Edit, this happened way back in the 50s. Her family was very rich, and he was just a normal guy. Did she never love a piece? I'd be pissed if I had to discard my favorite shirt. Oh, I love this shirt. Too bad it's expired and has to go into the incinerator. I worked at a Starbucks and we hired a new guy, who I was training. At one point, I had to show him how to clean the restrooms. I grab the bleach, and hand him a pair of gloves, and he looks at me in disgust and says, "We don't have a maid to clean the bathrooms?" He quit the next day lol. I honestly wonder how people like that even ended up getting a job in the first place. Like, what did they think they'd be doing? They've been in plenty of coffee shops and think it would be cool to brew the coffees and chat with the hot customers. They have no idea of the actual work involved.